beautiful people. Thank you for viewing. Today, I want to reminisce about not such a pleasant year. Well, maybe for you it was, and for me, and I think most of us here that live in the United States, well, actually globally, it was not such a great year. And I'm talking about the year 2020. And so now I'm going to do my introduction. Are you ready? All right. Do do do. Sprinkle, sprinkle, sprinkle. Sparkle, sparkle, sparkle. A bunch of pizzazz and all that jazz. Woo! Okay. So much is always going on in my life, and it would be interesting. Well, maybe not for you, because who would want to follow someone around like all the time? I know that there's actually people that document like every day, like a part of their lives, and I apparently they do get a lot of views. But anyways, I don't want to do that, so I'm not gonna start that. And I don't even have that many views. So, oh, there comes my son. Anyway, so okay, so what was I gonna share? I already forgot. Yes, that there's just so much going on in my life, and I wanted to go for a walk, and then I wanted to show you part. Like I was gonna do this, and I was gonna sit down the place I always sit down. And there's a little bench, and it overlooks like the beautiful nature, all these trees, and you can see birds flying, and so it was beautiful. But time did not permit me to do that, so I'm just gonna share, because like right now in a little bit I'm gonna take my daughter to the doctor, and just a bunch of other life stuff. You know what I'm talking about? All right, so let's reminisce about 2020. So I'm in my science class, and I'm learning these different things about, like greenhouse, how the greenhouse gases, how they affect the atmosphere and what it does, and that's just part of what I'm learning, okay? And so one of the things that showed on the slide that we seen was the year 2020. And it showed for the year 2020 that August, it was one of our, for us, the United States, it was our third hottest August that year, 2020. And globally, it also showed how it was warm for everybody, just about everybody. One of the things also that it talked about Hurricane Laura, how she went, does it mean that Hurricane Laura actually has a gender? I'm just going to refer to it as a she, because I'm just going to. Okay, so when she went through the Caribbean, she destroyed, she brought devastation. And when she went through Louisiana, she brought such devastation that they hadn't seen since 1856. And I'm sure they're still working on fixing that up. So, no, that's also, and I'm sure you guys all remember, because it hasn't been that long ago, but that's also the year when we got introduced to the coronavirus. I think it first was getting known like in, I'm gonna say the beginning of March, but I'm not positive. I know that I went to a restaurant with my ex-boyfriend at that time. Sounds funny when I say it that way. Okay, so regardless, at that time I went to a restaurant with my ex-boyfriend, and I know that the restaurants were still open, but it was fewer people, and like when we seen each other, he was just like wanting to do like a fist bump, or I think no, for him I think it was wanting to hit our bottom of our shoes together, and I'm like, no. And then he was telling me to go wash my hands. I'm like, I will, but not right now. I want to be seated first. Anyways, so I remember it just barely being introduced to us. And then, as y'all know, it was like they wanted the lockdowns and to be established, and it was hardcore. You know, families weren't allowed to be together, and it was tough. But not only was it tough that way, but which was hard for us all. And I also was going through heartbreak of because of my ex-boyfriend breaking up with me. So that was devastating. It was hard for me going through everything, and also I think it helped. Just kind of like boom, boom, boom. Let's just get it all over with, so to speak. Does that make sense? But as we know, life does not just get it all over with. You just get over one thing and then another thing comes. Um, so yeah, so that 2020, I find it fascinating now that I'm learning all this, and I can't imagine all the more that happened 2020. I mean, like, what else could happen, Um, but I find it extremely fascinating because it's like I don't take anything for a coincidence. And so that year personally, emotionally, was extremely devastating. And then I find out, well, not just for me, but globally, we got hit with some heavy duty stuff. The warming, the Hurricane Laura, and then the coronavirus to top it off. And of course, I don't know where you live, but for us here, it's unless you go into like a doctor's office or a hospital, you not have to wear the mask. Um, I saw a person learning to drive, so like a student driver, and I seen that they had a mask on. So I guess depending on where you live and because I don't know what the regulations are. I know for the schools they lifted that mandate where you don't have to wear the mask anymore. So anyway, I just found that fascinating. So it's like the earth was hurting along with me. All right. So yeah, the greenhouse gases are affecting things, and things are continually to warm up, and things are continually to be devastated. All right, I'll give you that. All right. So it's not just the year 2020 that's been devastated in that aspect, but I thought it was kind of cool that, and it's sad because most of the gases that are being emitted, the CFCs, I believe, which are all human made, that can be stopped. And it's just the politicians and the business owners, they know that the chances of them still being alive when it hits, which I think 2050 is when a major thing is supposed to could happen. I forget what it is, so oh my goodness. So I'll look it up and I can get back to you. Um, anyway, so they're like, we're not going to be here for it, so that's for the future to deal with, and they don't put the regulations that they could. You know what I mean? That these people that have the power to actually, okay, we need to implement this so that way we can stop the emissions from so high because this is what the future looks like. Yeah. So, all right, guys, I am busy and I have a lot of studying to do for my science, and I gotta read a lot for literature. Yeah, it's busy, 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 and I still gotta take my daughter to the doctors. So, all right, be blessed. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye bye.